every No Kings protest. But I got to tell you, there's just also an overwhelming sense of joy. Like folks feel like we have the opportunity to effing do something about this. I was overwhelmed by that yesterday.
But the question that, to Jackie's point, is when you have a president who isn't doing things that most of the country likes, and you have a Congress that hasn't been effective in maybe since you were in office, like for a very long time. You have Republicans who are in his pocket, and you have voters who want to see Democrats doing more, even if there's not many more tools in their tool belt when they're in the minority. It tells me that as we move forward, it's going to be it's going to be tougher for Democrats than I think they think, right? Getting the gavel is one thing. How you do the investigations, who you're investigating, the speed at which there's progress is going to matter. Angelo, you pay a lot of attention, I think maybe more than anyone at this table, to the right-wing media ecosystem. What did they think of yesterday's protest? Did they pay attention? And what does their reaction tell you about what's moving forward?
Two things, especially you can compare it to how they reacted last time.
Yeah.
And they did talk about it this time. And now they talked about it a lot less. And that's, I think, because they didn't have a strong message yet. Now, eventually they'll find something and they'll throw it out there. But the one thing that they have so far pushed is that it's all fake. These are all paid protesters.
Very expensive.
This would be very expensive. That there is some shadowy force that is paying it. The same shadowy force that they would argue is importing all of these immigrants so that they can perpetually steal the election. That seems to be their anchor, is that there is this force behind it. It is funding all of it, and nothing that you see is authentic. And I think that gets to what he was saying, which is that there is, when you're looking at it, there's sort of a generalized sense of frustration. There's nothing happening at these protests that seems super stunty or that's going to capture it away. It seems that it's emphatically not one demographic or one geographic region, and there's a joyful part of it that seems, one of the takeaways from the joyful part is that it's productive. That doesn't seem to be performative, and that cuts against they're all being paid protesters narrative, because in theory they'd be performers. You'd see a lot more performance, and it hasn't landed really yet.
Joe, you came up through the Tea Party, right? So you really have seen firsthand what a Tea Party protest looks like versus...
What a turn you've taken.
Right. And now you're here. Not a normal trajectory, but but I would love you to talk about the sort of differences you see on the ground, if you see them, compare the two movements.
Molly, I got to write a book. That's such a great question, because in many ways it's similar. We can argue about the Tea Party another day, but it was grassroots, and it was folks who were afraid of potential government tyranny and a king, and my God, now here we are, and they've abandoned all those beliefs. But Molly, this is so much bigger. Right. I've got to tell you this. This is a much bigger movement than the Tea Party. It is much more joyous, and like we have the chance to do something. And I think the difference is because the Tea Party, we railed about, oh, my God, a potential king or tyrant in the White House. He's freaking here. Like, people out there know it and believe it. We have a king. We have tyranny right now. And as joyous as everybody was yesterday, there's a fear. This is here now.
Yeah.
When you are surveying sort of the messaging that you feel like broke through, at least online, and on the internet and into more the mainstream media, is there anything that you feel like is instructive for Democrats to take a lesson from?
I think there's two things that seem to really get, the way I measure breakthrough is the types of engagement, kinetic energy that it gets, not just in terms of how many likes and shares, but is that something people are not just retweeting or reposting, but actually retelling? Are they actually going into other spaces and saying, I heard this thing, I saw this thing, let me tell you about it? And the two things that seem to be taken away so far, and it is a through line from the last, was one, first-time participants in civic engagement.
Yeah.
That gets a lot of traction and breaks through, because what it says is they finally decided to do something that it wasn't, even though they may be in their 60s or 50s or whatever, they've never participated before, but they finally decided to do something now. And that says a lot. It means that this is different. There's something about this that inspired them to take action. A lot of that helps organize new people. That's the first thing. And then the second is that there's the ability after the protest to go and do something, anything. And you've seen that across the board. More people running in for races that they've never run before. You've seen what's played out in some of these specials. So that there's this long tail. Those two pieces break through, especially people coming out and explaining, I've never done this before, but I'm finally going to get out there and do it.
I want to go to Philip Stone. He's a Vietnam War veteran, and he was yesterday condemning the GOP for backing Trump's authoritarian behavior. Listen to him.
I can't believe that Republican congressmen and senators who have each sworn an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States are sitting supine in front of this wannabe dictator who, with their assent, is becoming an actual dictator. I consider him to be a traitor.
A traitor.
A traitor, yes.
If you're a Republican running in Congress this year, trying your damnedest to get your job back, are you scared of hearing that? Because that is a sentiment that is not just from Philip Stone, that is throughout the country in big cities and small towns.
Plenty of them are scared, and the ones who are scared aren't running for re-election.
Yeah, we had another dropout this week.
Oh my God, the number of Republicans running for the hills right now, those are the ones who are scared. If you're not running for the hills, then sadly you got to stay on that Titanic until November. You've got to tie yourself to Trump. This is a really important point. And this is scary to say. The current president of the United States is doing everything he can to mess with, I watch my language, the midterms, to try to cancel the midterms, to never accept the results of the midterms. Jackie, you asked at the top, what is this, what next, no kings? We have to make sure there are midterms. And this thing, to Angela's point, these protests need to keep growing. Miles Taylor said, too big to rig. That's what has to happen.
Yeah, because we have some lawyers on later, Norm Eisen and Sky Perryman, to get into what are they doing, because these two things go hand in hand. Angelo and Joe are sticking around to continue this conversation after a very quick break, because we have the Minnesota governor who said some really interesting things that you guys didn't hear about. You're watching The Weekend only on MS Now.
That's rough. But hey, with SafeLight, you can get that fixed any way you want.
Anywhere I want.
It's your windshield. Get it fixed any way you want with SafeLight.
SafeLight repair, SafeLight replace.
Pump up the volume. Go ahead. Crank the volume. We got you. USPS has increased daily package processing capacity by 46% in the past 5 years. And with USPS Ground Advantage, your packages stay in our secure network, dock to door, nationwide. For full visibility, near real-time tracking, affordable pricing, for peace of mind. USPS Ground Advantage.
Have you ever felt so sluggish that it was like you were stuck in your chair? Like you didn't feel energetic enough for even routine activity? I've been there. And as a doctor, I knew this could be a sign that my digestive system wasn't working at its best. So I followed the same advice I give my patients and started taking Metamucil fiber every day.
Metamucil is the only leading brand with plant-based psyllium fiber that gels to help trap and remove waste, so you can feel lighter in as little as 14 days.
After trying it for 2 weeks, I decided to keep taking Metamucil every day to help meet my health goals.
Metamucil psyllium fiber also helps curb cravings between meals, helps lower cholesterol to support heart health, and helps maintain healthy blood sugar levels. That's why Metamucil is the #1 fiber brand recommended by doctors, pharmacists,
and gastroenterologists like me.
Metamucil. Digestive health starts here. Scan to shop or visit these fine retailers today.
When COPD tried to stop you, you kept going. Breztri, a 3-in-1 inhaler. Better breathing starting within 5 minutes and helps prevent flare-ups. Breztri won't replace a rescue inhaler for sudden breathing problems. It is not for asthma. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition or high blood pressure before taking it. Don't take Breztri more than prescribed. Breztri may increase risk of thrush, pneumonia, and osteoporosis. Call your doctor if worsened breathing, chest pain, mouth or tongue swelling, problems urinating, vision changes, or eye pain occur. Ask your doctor about Breztri.
Let's face it, most of us aren't going to set foot on Mars.
I'm on Mars! It's
freezing. I'm going to go back to the module.
Some things are out of reach.
I got this.
But a card with access to exceptional benefits isn't one of them. Welcome to the Credit One Bank American Express Suite.
We pull people off the street and ask them about their hearts.
How's your heart?
My heart's pretty good.
You sure? How do you know? You're driving a car, you have the check engine light, but the heart doesn't have a hey, check heart sign.
Check your heart in just 30 seconds with Cardio Mobile and enjoy the convenience and reliability of a medical-grade EKG from anywhere. And you can get Cardio Mobile today for just $79 at Cardio.com or Amazon so you can start taking charge of your heart health.
I want to show you something. Put both fingers right on those pads. There you go. In 30 seconds, we're going to have a medical-grade EKG reading. There it is. That is you.
Look at that.
Cardio Mobile is proven to detect up to 6 of the most common arrhythmias, including atrial fibrillation, one of the leading causes of stroke. Cardio Mobile is the #1 doctor-recommended personal EKG. Plus, it's the most affordable EKG you can get without a prescription at a fraction of the cost of a smartwatch. Get Cardio Mobile today for just $79 plus free shipping and find great deals during our spring sale at Cardio.com or Amazon.
Do you think that America is awake and alert?
Democrats seem to be finding their footing. People are really down on this president about the economy.
No ethics violations are being prosecuted.
The Weekend Prime Time, Saturdays and Sundays at 6 on MS Now.
On our podcast, Clock It, we are positioning ourselves at the intersection of culture and politics.
Clock It is where we talk about what we see and hear in the news so you can start to clock it too.
Clock It with Simone and Eugene. Listen now. New episodes drop Thursdays.
Former Congressman Joe Walsh and Angelo Chiarosone are back with us. Hello. We have a shot of the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, friend of the show, friend of ours, talking about the protests and talking about what's going on. So we're going to go to that for a minute.
I will add a special thank you and a special acknowledgement that we will never leave the side of our Somali Minnesotans. Here's our pledge to you. Our Somali Minnesotans, your great-grandchildren will still be here when that orange clown is in the dustbin of history. You will be here.
Joe, talk us through what this kind of rhetoric, anti-racism and the importance of it in these marches.
It's hugely important. And again, I heard a lot of criticism. Oh, it was an older crowd. It's an only white crowd. No, I saw all different colors, all different sizes, all different ages yesterday. The President of the United States and my former political party, again, is going to use race and fear to try to cling to some sort of midterm victory. It is imperative that Democrats, and it is imperative that everybody else publicly, Molly, get, like Walz did, get in their faces and push back against this. This is a tool of the right.
I am always struck by who are the better messengers within the Democratic Party. And I think Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut is one of those. He was in L.A., and I want to play what he said he's hearing at these rallies.
I talked to a guy earlier today in Torrance who had never been politically active his entire life, and the day they took 7 people from his neighborhood car wash is the day that he became a political activist. And the idea that that's happening all over California and LA, but all over the country. It's not the worst of the worst, bottom line. It's just like, this is how you save a democracy. Like, this is fragile.
The point that I keep hearing is that there are so many things that everyone's upset about. Mm-hmm. Sometimes when people have a movement, they're like, we need to focus on one thing, right? Like the way to drive a message home is to focus on one singular issue to get everybody upset and rallied and go to the polls in November. But in this current media environment, it feels like you can have a buffet, as Michelle Norris said yesterday, and it still worked to the Democratic advantage.
I think it's increasingly essential that you're able to do that. And I think especially both parties, but one of the key differences between the past and where we're transitioning is that messaging is that you pick a message, you stick to it, you have the discipline to keep echoing back to it, and ideally that filters out into as many communication channels as you have and people pick it up. We're in a different world now. Messaging is not going to be the difference maker. Communication skills is going to be the difference maker. Can you tell a story? And why that matters, the underlying difference is that we're in a fragmented media landscape. And so you're going to need to be able to talk across that landscape to different audiences in different ways, and the thing that resonates with them most. What you're seeing in the power of this protest is how so many different issues are connecting people to something which is not this, something else. Yeah. That's what every single day in communications is going to be like, and in politics going forward. And honestly, that was one of Trump's assets, is that because he was so online, he was able to pick up random things. And it was a potpourri of nonsense, but everyone's like, I kind of like that scent. I'll go along with it.
And it's up to Democrats and the activists and the strategists and the lawmakers to connect the things and be like, you're upset that you feel like he's a king. Well, look at your gas prices and look at the prices of your groceries. It's all connected.
It's sort of a la R.L. Stein Goosebumps, choose your own ending.
Exactly.
So, the Republican side of things, as we've pointed out, there was, and as Angelo said, that in terms of what he's seen online, there was a lot less fear-mongering ahead of yesterday's protests. What do you think is the reason for that? I mean, do you think it's that Republicans are simply overwhelmed with their own chaos in terms of staving off a government shutdown, dealing with the war in Iran, deciding if they're going to foot a $200 billion bill to continue to fund this war that they've decided to abdicate any responsibility in authorizing? Or is it that they don't have a good counter message?
They're chest deep in all of the crap you just brought up. And I think and I've heard this, they've sort of been instructed to ignore this growing movement.
Right.
Well, there is no way to counter it, so they've been told to sort of ignore it. And Eugene, to your point about there's not one thing, there kind of is one thing that I hear over and over from everybody is this isn't who we are. Right. Like Molly, you've made this point, like everything's just so overwhelming, and the average American out there thinks what's going on right now in this country just isn't who we are.
I think it is who we are.
I
always say that.
The great Eugene Daniels.
I think it is who we are, but I think that the key is it doesn't have to be.
It shouldn't be who we are.
That is right, and I think that, and I think
or maybe
that's
it's also that Americans have not had any choice here.
Or they feel like they haven't had agency in making that choice.
The best thing about Trump, the only good thing about Trump is because he's doing all this stuff, in real time, we're having to choose what kind of country we want to be. In real time.
Yeah. And taking the wheels in a way that I think everyday citizens did not think they had to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Here we go. Joe and Angelo will be back with us later on. We have a lot to talk about, guys. But coming up next, it might surprise you some of the places that saw big No Kings rallies yesterday, including the communities that typically vote for Republicans. Watching the weekend.
This is the true story of Alex. Recently promoted, he was earning more, but investing for the future,
I definitely needed a plan.
With his advisor, Dennis, Alex invested his savings into 3 accounts.
One for now, one for later, and of course, his retirement.
A plan in motion put the future in focus. The wedding, the barn-dominium, kids.
Maybe kids.
The point here, Alex has more than big goals for his future. He's got a plan to get there.
Progressive makes it easy to see if you can save money with a commercial auto quote online, so you can get back to your monster to-do list.
Super helpful.
See if you can save money at progressivecommercial.com.
Thank you.
When your gut is out of balance, your body gives you signs. So if you're frustrated with occasional bloating or gas, help stop the frustration and start taking Align every day. Align Probiotic was specifically designed by gastroenterologists to help relieve your occasional bloating and gas, so you can enjoy life. When you feel the signs, it's time to try Align.
Age-related memory decline? Meet new Cunol Brain Health, the first and only tablet to combine 2 high-absorption ingredients, clinically shown to improve memory, focus, attention, and more. Trust Cunol for more comprehensive brain health support.
Hey, buddy. Morning. I'm a stickler for good dental care. Me too. Ooh, looking sharp today. But even if we take care of our teeth, we can still get... No, please don't say it. A big dental bill. That's why dental insurance from Physicians Mutual Insurance Company is important. Now, this isn't a discount plan or preventive-only coverage. It helps pay for over 400 procedures, like cleanings, fillings, crowns, bridges, root canals, even dentures. That's a lot. It's easy to find out more. Just call or go online now to get your free information kit with all the details. This dental insurance helps you pay for routine care and expensive major procedures, all with no deductibles and no annual maximums. You can even keep your dentist. Why pay more for dental care? Get your free info kit and start saving today. Call or visit physiciansmutualdental.com. Physicians Mutual, Physicians Mutual.
Allergy congestion?
That's why I Navage.
Tired of medicines?
That's why I Navage.
Navage flushes out allergens, mucus, and germs, even 99% of viruses, fast. Hate guesswork?
That's why I recommend Navage. Unlike other products, I trust Navage to work the right way every time. Pre-measured pods, just right pressure.
No wonder it's the #1 selling powered nasal irrigator. For over 10 years, and for millions like you, there's only one Navage.
Yes, I actually won!
See this? It just arrived from Deal Dash, a Nintendo Switch 2.
Look what I just won. I love Deal Dash.
With millions of auctions, you too can start winning, like this.
I got this amazing Japanese knife set for just 75 cents.
I got this KitchenAid stand mixer for only $56.
And today, new users get a $50 bonus credit. Go to DealDash.com right now for huge savings.
And free shipping from our U.S. warehouses.
Why'd I go to the doctor? When my heart kept skipping a beat, I didn't think much of it. But my girls made me get checked out, and it made such a difference. Turns out, I have AFib, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you notice one or more of these symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did, and my girls are too.
This is no time to wait.
No Kings demonstrators turned out in droves on Saturday in thousands of cities, towns, townships across the country. Organizers say more than 3,300 locations participated, including 600 new locations in mostly rural and red communities. Among them, Juneau, Alaska, Minot, North Dakota, Overland Park, Kansas, and Waukesha, Wisconsin. Tennessee, historically red and conservative, had thousands of people turn out to events across the state, including in Chattanooga, where a safety marshal estimates at least 4,000 people gathered. Rallies were also held, listen to this, you guys, in Pulaski, where the Ku Klux Klan was founded, and in the city of Lebanon, where ICE planned to put a detention center to hold at least 15,000 detainees. Those plans were later scrapped. Joining us to get into all of this, Holly McCall, editor of the Tennessee Lookout. The Lookout is part of State's Newsroom, the nation's largest nonprofit state-focused news organization. Holly, thank you so much for getting up early and hanging out with us. When you look at those numbers in Tennessee, when you think about Pulaski, when 4,000 people in Chattanooga, what should those of us on the national level take from what's happening in Tennessee?
Tennessee has always been a conservative state. It has not always been run by Republicans, but even when Democrats were in charge, it was clearly not a liberal state. And to see the scale of these protests grow in under a year, I think is something that everyone should take note of. When you have 400 people in Lebanon, Tennessee, which I don't think has got a Democratic official elected in the entire county in which that sits, or Pulaski, Tennessee, or Jackson, Tennessee, a highly conservative part of West Tennessee. Chattanooga had twice as many people as they've had in the past. I think it says that there's an undercurrent of unhappiness in this country and in traditionally conservative parts of the country in the South.
And Holly, there was a lot of opining taking place yesterday on who exactly was attending these protests. I want to play this clip from Tomi Lahren, who speculated a bit about the makeup of the people who showed up yesterday.
I noticed it was largely made up of older white people with a lot of rage.
Are they also handing out like Metamucil and Depends with this lineup? I mean, it doesn't seem like it's something that young people are latching on to.
Does that square with what you were seeing, Holly? Were they handing out Metamucil yesterday? At least where Chattanooga Tennessee Lookout team was?
I did not get any of that in my goodie bag. Paying protesters to be there, and of course that's a joke. I did see a lot of older people, but I don't think that's a bad thing, because I think many of us, as we get older, I'm 61, tend to get a little what's the word I'm looking for? We tend to get a little. It's pretty important that older people are out protesting. Some of these are folks who have protested in the 60s. I talked to one woman who was 70 years old, and she was so excited because it was her first protest. And she said, my daughter doesn't want me down here, but I think it's so important. So it's some of these baby boomers who I think have gotten very complacent. And there were a lot of older people, but I also saw a lot of younger people.
Holly, I wanted to ask you about Marsha Blackburn, the senator, Republican senator from Tennessee. So there was this mega center they were planning, and it looks like it's not happening now. Can you talk about that? Because that sounds like a lot of Tennessee pushback and successfully working out.
Yes, we broke that story on a Friday afternoon, and it didn't go anywhere. By Monday morning, it had exploded. I think every single Republican lawmaker who had a comment on it at the time said that we were wrong, we had the wrong city. And when it became clear, when ICE continued to confirm that, yes, they were planning to put this mega detention center 30 miles from Nashville in a small community, it was amazing to see how that community turned out to protest that. There was a county commission meeting with, I think, 400 people at that, packed into 3 overflow rooms. And Senator Blackburn eventually did get involved and pushed back on it and, took credit for that center not being placed here. What's interesting to me, though, is she is running for governor this year. She's the front runner in the Tennessee gubernatorial race. And she is very approving and enthusiastic about President Donald Trump's immigration policies. And yet when it gets cited in her backyard and she saw that there was pushback to it, she also pulled back on it. I'm going to note that in the town she represents, Franklin, Tennessee, it is arguably the reddest part of Tennessee, very conservative. There were 1,700 protesters yesterday, and there were a lot of anti-Marsha Blackburn signs.
I would just like to note, as we all know, that y'all might have issues, Republicans, that these older people out there, but older people vote, as you well know. Holly, I want to read something from the Lookout. Anti-Trump No Kings rallies draw thousands across Tennessee. Quote, in Chattanooga, a multi-generational turnout included Molly Brooks, 15, who attended the No Kings rally with her stepfather, Kevin Brady. Quote, I wanted to make sure people know I'm passionate about who is president, she said from inside her polar bear suit. And I guess there's a multi-generational aspect of this that goes beyond 2026 and 2028. And so when you are someone who you and your team are on the ground talking to younger voters, and they have never known a world without the politics of Trumpism and the ways in which we operate nowadays, what do they tell you, and what does that tell you about what's coming next when they're in charge?
Boy, to sound very old, the youth give me hope, and I think they're going to save us. But there are a lot of, when I say young people, I'm not talking about young people in their 30s. I saw people in their teens who are soon to be voting age, like Molly. And that gives me hope, because it might be all they know, but they have enough of a moral compass to know that what they're seeing is not right. When their friends are being taken out of school, when their friends are afraid to come to school, when they see people they know being taken away by ICE, they see their parents upset about grocery prices. I heard a lot about grocery and gas prices yesterday. I heard a lot about war. I hear young men who are afraid that there's going to be a draft. And so I think these young people are the next maybe Vietnam-esque generation that are going to protest, they're going to vote, and they're going to run for office.
Yeah, Holly, and we're out of time, but just to add on to that list that you were just going through is some good, amazing reporting from the Tennessee Lookout from August of 2022 was your coverage of a court ruling that Confederate memorabilia was allowed in a jury room and that it wasn't prejudicial. I think we should note that it says quite a bit that protests are being held in a community where the Ku Klux Klan was founded and where a courtroom is still allowed to hold Confederate memorabilia. But Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for your excellent reporting from the Tennessee Lookout, Holly McCall.
When we come back, Donald Trump in disarray and why he's reportedly saying he's growing, quote, bored of Iran, even as he prepares to send 1,000 more young American troops into his unauthorized war. You're watching The Weekend.
New Sensodyne Clinical Repair is absolutely amazing. When your teeth are sensitive, they need special care. New Sensodyne Clinical Repair creates a protective shield over those exposed areas that can help repair sensitive areas of teeth after 60 seconds. I recommend Sensodyne Clinical Repair.
I checked Allstate first and saved hundreds on my car insurance. Unfortunately, I did not check my outfit before meeting my girlfriend's family. Checking Allstate first was an excellent plan. Not checking which team my girlfriend rooted for? Yeah, not great. So check Allstate first, and you can save hundreds. Ex-girlfriend.
Sunscreen, swim diapers, SPF sun shirt, 2 fans, baby powder, and 1 floaty.
Sun hat.
Sun hat.
Cash back on first-time parent wins. Earn 3% at drugstores, and so much more. With Chase Freedom Unlimited.
It looks like an ordinary staircase, but as you age with occasional nerve discomfort that can feel like stabbing or pins and needles in your hands and feet, sometimes stairs can bring worry. As a retired doctor, now that I'm older myself, I take Nervive. Nervive Nerve Relief has ALA to start reducing occasional nerve discomfort in 7 days. Getting older happens, but living with occasional nerve discomfort doesn't have to. Try Nervive like I did and get your freedom back. Feel alive with Nervive.
What a hotel. Right? And only $250 a night for my favorite site. What?
You didn't check Trivago.
I got mine for $155. You have to check Trivago.
Oh, yeah? Prove it.
On Trivago, you can compare hotel prices from multiple different sites.
Even your favorite one.
Look, same hotel, $100 less.
You didn't check Trivago?
I didn't check Trivago.
Check Trivago to compare prices and save up to 40%. Hotel? Trivago.
What causes a curve down there?
Is it Peyronie's disease?
Is there somebody I can talk to or help?
I got somebody for that.
I got somebody for that. I got somebody for that.
You guys got somebody for Peyronie's disease?
There's hope for the estimated 1 in 10 men who may have Peyronie's disease, or PD. A urology specialist who treats PD can help you create a plan, including non-surgical options. Find somebody today at gogetsomebody.com.
When dry eyes need a boost,
blink. Ready, set, blink.
Up to 10 hours of relief to help you keep going. Relief with every blink.
Hey, hon. Sometimes you just need a moment. Self-care has never been this easy. Try Zero Sugar Gummies from Nature Made. Same benefits, zero sugar.
How do you think about your last year serving and what you want to accomplish over this next year? Do you trust the FBI to handle the oversight of this investigation? That is what media does. They hold power to account.
MS Now Premium gives you early access and ad-free listening to all of MS Now's original podcasts, including Rachel Maddow Presents Burn Order, plus exclusive bonus content, and all your favorite shows ad-free. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts.
As the No Kings movement organized massive demonstrations across the country, the target of those protests, Donald Trump, appears to be disorganized. While a White House official tells MS Now Trump is growing bored with the war in Iran and wants to move on from the conflict. Reports say the president is considering sending at least 10,000 more combat troops to the Middle East. And as Americans struggle with long security lines at airports, so much so that travelers are actually paying people to wait online for them. Trump arrives in West Palm Beach on Saturday for yet another weekend of golfing. At his course, former Congressman Joe Walsh and Angelo Garrison are back with us. Angelo, what are you seeing on conservative media about this You watch a ton of it. I apologize in advance. Talk us through it.
It depends on which part of it. I mean, the reality, the top line is that they're sort of fracturing in ways that we sort of expected. There are small cracks, but they're fully now blowing open.
But the war,
the gaps, and they just broadly speaking, there's one bucket that says escalate no matter what. So reports come out about potential food crises, the issues with fertilizer. Escalate. $10 to $20 gas. Newsmax is saying just bear with it for another couple weeks, please. So suck it up, sort of thing. Any development, any negative story, any warning about the consequences is a call for escalation. So that's Hannity. That's the usual affair. That's the Fox News, the traditional sort of right-wing media. And then there's that bucket outside of it that are actively and vigorously against it. They are against any escalation. And one of the things that is a significant takeaway, and it ties into what you're talking about with No Kings, is that when they talk about their criticisms of Trump with the war, they then immediately open up new fronts in criticism. So now it turns into corruption. Right? It turns into incompetence. Right. So they don't just begin and end it. Now I'm mad at him about this. It's like, well, now I'm going to start taking other shots. And I think that's one of the things that's happening is that they're using it as a launch pad for a wider swath of criticism.
Sorry, go ahead, Jackie.
Well, I guess, do you feel like, though, this debate has transcended from the MAGA lectuals to actual Trump voters?
There's definitely, yes, absolutely. And
but
there
the polling
some
shows that the MAGA line voters, 90%, I think, control room, check me on that, but 90% in the NBC News poll that came out like a week ago said that they were fine with the war.
That's right. Anyone that's going to self-identify as MAGA is going to, that's basically saying I'm self-identified as a Trump loyalist and a Trump cultist. That number is going to be at 30%, and the people within that bucket, they're not going to move. They're going to stay as high as 90 because it's a pass-fail test, and their pass is whether or not they're continuing to support Trump no matter what. But even Megyn Kelly noted that when Trump is citing those stats, he's ignoring the fact that that's only a very small subset of the larger population. There's still a larger universe that MAGA, in the sense that they voted for Trump last time, there was a part of the MAGA coalition on the media landscape. That's different. If you poll those sort of influencers or podcasters that were part of the MAGA storyline in 2024, they are not in that bucket. And that's where these terms are going to start to have shifting definitions over the next few months as this continues to evolve.
Who are the anti-war voices or the dissent?
I think the big bellwether, I mean, obviously Tucker, right? That Megyn Kelly to a degree, but I think Joe Rogan. But then there's this other bucket, and I think there's two that are notable. One is Sean Ryan, who is a sort of a former military guy who does a lot of conspiracy type podcast news stuff. He's fully switched now. He's completely opposed now, no matter what. And then the second layer that's really anti, it's all the people you wouldn't think about. So video game streamers that were voting for Trump. These manosphere guys. This guy Sneeko, probably the most influential person that no one here has ever heard of or the audience. Okay, he's got a massive crowd, mostly speaks.
Everyone's writing down
and he's a far right figure, broadly speaking, fully vigorously against this. So that second layer is basically been evaporated.
And it filters down to Trump voters on the margins. Again, I engage with hundreds of them every day. On the margins, the Epstein thing peeled some of them off. On the margins, the tariff and the fact that everything costs so much peels some of them off. And this war has peeled off some of Trump voters on the margins.
Yeah. Go ahead, Eugene.
I want to play this sound from Trump from Wednesday on the economic impacts on the war, because I think it is helpful for the conversation that Republicans are having currently.
I thought it would be much worse. I thought that the energy prices, oil price would go up higher. I thought the stock market would go somewhat lower. But it didn't matter to me. It's short term.
I assume that there are Democratic strategists cutting at least that last part. It didn't matter to me. It's short term. Because what the American people, we've been talking about this for weeks, what the American people have been dealing with is long-term pain, some of them decades-long economic pain in this country. And Donald Trump said, I alone can go into Washington, D.C. again and fix all of this for you on day one. And the only thing he's done when it comes to the economy is the tariff. So when you look at this, he doesn't have to worry about how it's going to affect his polling numbers. He doesn't care. But the Republicans that are running do.
Are scared to death, and that's why they're all resigning, retiring. Look, a lot of people voted for Trump in 24 who are not MAGA. They voted for Trump because the Democrats suck, or because of the border, or because I want things to cost less. Those people are fleeing him, and that's why there's going to be a blue tsunami if we have midterms, if we have free and fair midterms. The other thing is, we don't talk about this enough. He's whacked.
Right. We need to assume that we have free and fair midterms. That has to be the baseline. But certainly we all have to be careful. There's a lot of lawyers who are going to be careful with that. But the assumption has to be because, Trump will do as much as he's allowed to.
I think we have to assume there will be. We have